The Los Angeles Lakers are betting on development this year, and one player who might end up surprising a lot of people is Jaxson Hayes. Recently, footage surfaced of Hayes working consistently on his three-point shot, and that alone should raise some eyebrows. Now, we've seen flashes of this in the past, especially during his time in New Orleans, but it looks like he's finally starting to put serious effort into adding this dimension to his game. He's not someone you've wanted launching 10 threes a night, obviously, but even just becoming a guy who can hit the occasional open look could completely reshape how teams defend him. The interesting thing is that Jaxson has never had a bad shot for a big man. It's just that he hasn't been given the green light, or perhaps he hasn't felt confident enough to pull the trigger consistently. Whether it's from deep or from mid-range, just the threat of a jumper would dramatically increase his offensive. Versatility. Imagine pairing that kind of shot making with his already freakish athleticism and lob catching ability. Suddenly, he's not just a vertical threat, but a floor spacing big who can punish defenses for sagging off him. And the Lakers could absolutely use a guy like that off the bench. Last season, there were moments when people were asking whether Darvin Ham might eventually give him more freedom to stretch the floor, but we never really saw it materialize. Now, though, as Hayes continues to grind in the offseason, this might be the time to give him that rope. He doesn't need to become a sniper overnight. We're not asking for a Brook Lopez-type transformation. But if he can become respectable, say a 34 or 35% shooter from beyond the arc, that changes the dynamic in a huge way. It's all about development at this point. Hayes is still young. He just turned 25. In May, meaning he won't hit 26 until the Lakers are deep into the playoffs, assuming they get there. That means time is still very much on his side. He has the tools, the athleticism, and now, seemingly, the commitment to round out his game in a meaningful way. We saw what he could do in flashes last season, especially when paired with Luka Doncic. That stretch of regular season basketball was arguably the best we've ever seen from Jaxson Hayes in the NBA. But even back then, there were caveats. His ceiling as a backup center seemed promising, but his limitations offensively made it difficult to envision him as anything more than a situational player. The good news is that's okay, because the Lakers don't need him to be a 30-minute-a-night guy. They need him to be effective in bursts, especially when filling in for DeAndre Ayton during nights off or stretches of rest. Of course, the playoffs exposed some of those weaknesses. When teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves scouted and game planned, they completely neutralized his lob threat. Once that vertical game was cut off, Hayes struggled to stay impactful. That's why expanding his offensive bag is so crucial. He can't afford to be one-dimensional in the postseason. The regular season is more forgiving. You can get away with things like effort and energy, but come playoff time, it's all about execution and versatility. Even his defense, while solid, showed some cracks. The physical tools are there. He can move his feet, switch onto smaller players, protect the rim, but his discipline still needs work. He bites on pump fakes too often, gets into foul trouble quickly, and can sometimes be caught out of position. If he can clean that up, and if his offense becomes just passable from the perimeter, we're talking about a rotation player with real upside. One guy worth bringing up as a comparison is Maxi Kleber. Not a star by any stretch, but a reliable bench big who can stretch the floor, rebound, and hold his own defensively. Kleber has carved out a career in Dallas by being just good enough from deep to stay on the floor in key moments. He's a career 35% three-point shooter on just over 3 attempts per game. Not mind-blowing numbers, but respectable enough that teams can't ignore him. That's all Hayes needs to aim for. Not greatness, just gravity. And Kleber, by the way, has had his own up and down stretches. There was a year where he shot over 40% from deep on more than 4 attempts a game. Then there were seasons where he dipped below 30. The key is consistency and confidence. If Hayes can hit open threes at a 34 or 35% clip, that's more than enough to make defenders second-guess collapsing on the drive or sagging into the paint. Plus, playing alongside a guy like Kleber could help unlock more of Hayes' game. Kleber's floor spacing could create lanes for Hayes to slip into, especially in pick-and-roll actions. With Luka operating the offense and commanding attention, that spacing becomes even more important. Now imagine if both bigs on the floor could hit a jumper. That's the type of lineup flexibility that wins you playoff games. It's not like Hayes needs to become Kevin Durant out there. Just being serviceable forces defenders to make decisions. If he becomes a guy who can pop out for a 15-footer or punish teams from the corner, now you're forcing defenses into rotations they don't want to make. That opens up cuts, lobs, and second chance points. The transformation doesn't have to be dramatic. Even small improvements in footwork, decision-making, and shot selection could result in Hayes being a significantly more valuable piece for this Lakers team. You're not looking for 20 points a night. You're looking for 10 points, 5 or 6 rebounds, a block, and maybe an occasional 3. That's it. And if he can deliver that in 15 to 20 minutes off the bench, that's a huge win. Let's not forget last year Hayes averaged nearly 7 points and 5 rebounds in under 20 minutes per game. That's already solid production, but bump that up a bit, closer to 10 and 6. And now you've got a rotation player who can spell Ayton without the drop-off being too steep. Especially with Ayton's injury history, those spot starts and extra minutes are going to matter. The challenge will be consistency. Hayes has always shown flashes, but the NBA is about putting those flashes together over weeks and months, not just highlight reels. If he can do that and stay healthy, he could be a serious piece for the Lakers this season. His free throw shooting is another area that could use improvement. Last season, he shot just over 62% from the line. That's not terrible, but it's a step down from earlier in his career when he was closer to 70%. Getting back to that number would be important, especially if he's going to see more touches in pick and roll situations or in transition where he's likely to draw fouls. You don't want to have to sub him out late in games because you're worried about free throws. Just being competent at the line keeps him on the floor. The stats don't lie. In just under 20 minutes a night, he gave you nearly 7 points, almost 5 rebounds, a block, and a steal. That's without a jump. Shot without spacing the floor and while still being somewhat raw in terms of positioning and discipline. Imagine what happens if he levels up even slightly. Now you're talking about a 10.6 rebound guy with rim protection, floor running ability, and an outside shot that keeps defenses honest. It's no secret that backup centers don't get a ton of minutes come playoff time. You're looking at maybe 10 to 15 minutes per game unless foul trouble or injuries occur. That's why the margin of error for guys like Hayes is razor thin. Every minute has to count. But if he's productive in those minutes, he could be a huge asset. And with Ayton unlikely to play all 82 games, if we're being honest, even 65 or 70 would be a strong showing. There will be nights where Hayes gets to start. Maybe 20 games, maybe more. Those are the opportunities where Hayes has to show he belongs. That's where he has to prove that the offseason work is paying off. That he's more than just a dunker or a lob target, that he's evolving. Last season, we saw stretches where Hayes looked like one of the most impactful defensive players on the team. He was flying around, contesting shots, finishing plays, and doing the dirty work. But those stretches would come and go. The key this year is maintaining that intensity and expanding his offensive options so he doesn't become invisible when the lob isn't there, because that's the real issue. When playoff defenses lock in, they find your weakness and go after it relentlessly. If Hayes can't punish defenders who sag off or take away the lob, he becomes a liability. But if he can punish them, even occasionally, it forces the defense to stay honest. That's all you want. There's no need for a massive leap, just evolution, just enough growth to keep teams on their toes. If Hayes can become even a fraction more dangerous offensively, that'll open up everything else in his game. He'll have more space to cut, more room to roll, more freedom to be the high-energy rim runner the Lakers need him to be. And if that happens, this Lakers front office might look pretty smart for betting on development instead of spending assets chasing another backup big. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on. In a move that has sparked quite a bit of chatter around the NBA community, the Los Angeles Lakers have officially signed Nick Richards as their backup center. This decision, though officially confirmed, still feels like a strategic gamble that many insiders are speculating about. Richards, known for his physical presence and defensive abilities, could bring a new dynamic to the Lakers front court, especially considering the team's ongoing quest for dominance in the Western Conference. The buzz is that this signing may be a calculated response to bolster depth behind the team's starting center, providing more rotation options and potentially changing the Lakers' interior defense and rebounding stats. While some fans are enthusiastic about the fresh energy Richards might bring, others remain cautious, wondering if this move will translate into meaningful minutes on the court or simply be a low-risk addition to the roster. Given the Lakers' high expectations and championship ambitions, every roster tweak is dissected with an eye on immediate impact. The rumor mill is already swirling with ideas about how Richards could fit into head coach Darvin Ham's system and what this means for the team's future lineup configurations. The excitement mixed with skepticism keeps the Lakers fan base on edge, waiting to see if Richards will be a sleeper pick or just a bench filler. The speculation around Nick Richards' arrival has led many analysts to debate his potential role within the Lakers system. Some insiders suggest Richards could evolve into a reliable rim protector who provides crucial minutes when the starters rest, especially during those grueling back-to-back games. Others argue that his offensive game might be too limited to make a significant impact in a team that often relies on fast-paced scoring and floor spacing. Still, the Lakers front office might view Richards as a long-term developmental project, a player who, with the right coaching and minutes, could grow into a more substantial contributor over time. There's also the intriguing possibility that Richards could be part of a larger plan, serving as insurance against injuries to key players like Anthony Davis, whose durability has been a concern in recent seasons. While some fans see this as a cautious but smart addition, others worry about the lack of immediate star power in the backup center position, given the Lakers' championship goals. Rumors are swirling that this move might hint at potential future trades or roster adjustments aimed at balancing experience with youthful energy. As preseason approaches, the basketball world remains abuzz, closely monitoring how Richards adapts to the Lakers' style of play and whether he can capitalize on this opportunity. The Lakers' decision to bring Nick Richards on board as a backup center has ignited a flurry of discussions regarding their front court depth and overall team strategy. Basketball insiders speculate that this move could be a sign of the Lakers prioritizing defense and rebounding over offensive firepower from the backup center position. Richards' reputation as a strong defensive player who excels in blocking shots and cleaning the glass might be exactly what the Lakers need to shore up their interior defense. This signing might also be interpreted as a hedge against the grueling demands of an 82-game season, where having a physically capable backup center is critical to maintaining a competitive edge. There are whispers that Richards could see his minutes increase if he quickly adapts to the Lakers' defensive schemes and proves reliable during practice sessions and early games. However, others caution that the transition from college or previous leagues to the NBA's level of play is no small feat, and Richards will have to overcome significant challenges to earn consistent playing time. The rumor mill further suggests that Richards' signing could potentially influence the Lakers' trade deadline moves, either providing them with the flexibility to swap players or enhancing their bargaining power with other teams. The intrigue surrounding this acquisition keeps the Lakers' off-season narrative lively and filled with possibilities. Amidst the buzz, there's growing curiosity about how Nick Richards will mesh with the Lakers' current roster, particularly alongside stars like LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Some insiders propose that Richards' size and defensive mindset might complement Davis' skill set, allowing the Lakers to switch defensive assignments more fluidly and maintain high intensity. In the paint, the Lakers coaching staff is reportedly excited about Richards' work ethic and willingness to learn, which could translate into rapid development within the team's system. Nevertheless, skeptics argue that Richards faces a tough road ahead, needing to prove his worth in a highly competitive environment where every player's contribution is scrutinized under the bright lights of Los Angeles. There's speculation that Richards might initially play a limited role, coming off the bench to provide energy and defensive toughness while slowly gaining trust from the coaching staff. Rumors also suggest the Lakers might use Richards in certain matchups where his size can be exploited against opponents with less physical presence inside. This nuanced approach to integrating Richards points to a broader Lakers strategy of maximizing roster versatility. As training camp unfolds, All eyes will be on how Richards adapts to the NBA pace and whether he can carve out a meaningful niche within the Lakers' ambitions for the upcoming season. The excitement surrounding Nick Richards' signing as the Lakers' backup center continues to build, fueled by speculation about his potential impact and future with the franchise. Some fans are already imagining scenarios where Richards becomes a key defensive anchor in crucial playoff games, providing the Lakers with depth and toughness in the paint. Others see this as a low-risk move by the Lakers to explore untapped potential without sacrificing cap space or draft assets. There is also talk that Richards' presence could inspire healthy competition among the Lakers' big men, pushing everyone to elevate their game and secure playing time. Rumors suggest that if Richards impresses early, he might even challenge for a larger role, especially if injuries or performance issues arise with the starters. Meanwhile, the Lakers management remains tight-lipped about their long-term plans, keeping fans guessing about whether Richards is a stopgap solution or a building block for the future. The intrigue only intensifies as the season draws closer, with social media buzzing about the possibilities Richards represents. Whether he ends up being a quiet contributor or a surprise breakout star, the Lakers' addition of Nick Richards is undeniably one of the more talked about stories of the offseason, setting the stage for an interesting chapter in the franchise's ongoing quest for glory. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.